Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Today is January 20th, 2023. Here we are, another day for this tiger painting and composition sketches. We don't know what we're going to do today. Well, we have an idea of what we're going to try for, but how it turns out, we're not sure. So yesterday we left off with drawing our tiger here. Zoom in on our tiger that we got. And I did some checking of the drawing and not much adjustment. Mainly the biggest problem was the length of the legs from the body was a bit large. So that's kind of what we're going to do today is I'm going to adjust my tiger image here. Actually, I'm going to make a copy of it. Copy that image with Control J or Control C, Control V. You can do it either way. Make a copy of it, and then I'm going to transform this tiger by hitting Control T, holding Shift when I drag the corners. And then we're going to get something that's close to the size of the tiger that I drew. Measuring that on the head, at least. That's pretty close. Now, if we compare this with the composition that we chose, in the composition, I can see the bottom of the feet, but here I cannot within this one. So, yeah, we need to see the front paws there. So my initial thumbnail was off, actually. And that will happen. That's the reason why we do these composition sketches, is to figure these things out. So in order for this whole thing to work, I need to decrease the size of the tiger, basically. And I'm a little bit distracted because the stream is having some errors. Not sure what's going on because I got everything turned off but the stream. Huh. Is something else backing up? Shouldn't be. Got my phone in airplane mode. Unless my wife's phone is backing up, but then I can't do anything about that. Okay, not gonna worry about it. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't completely broken yet, so let's keep going. Always with the technical difficulty sometimes, right? So I want to see the front paws of the tiger in the composition. So I'm going to adjust the size of the tiger so the paws are just a bit in there. And we don't, one thing to watch out for when you're composing an image is you don't want things right up against the edge of the canvas or up against the end of your image, basically. Or up against the edge of your image. So what I want to do is make sure, let me change the opacity of that tiger. Okay, so we have a little bit of room down there. Honestly, I think I want a bit more room. So I'm going to make it even smaller. And that should be good. So now our composition drawing is pretty far off. Which is fine because in digital, we can make really quick adjustments to that. So what I'll do is I'll place my tiger where I want it. I'm not going to trace. What I'm going to do is look at, don't like that song. It's bit too distracting. What I'm going to do is just adjust the size of this layer so that it's smaller. It's going to be hard to see with all the lines. And what I could do is remove this area up here so that my handles are a little bit easier to grab. Don't forget to hold shift while you're adjusting these. And for some reason, I'm not getting the selection that I want. That's fine. So when you hold shift while you're transforming with the, what is it called? It should be, yeah, transform layer or selection tool. It will keep the aspect ratio. That way you don't distort your image as you're moving things all around. So, what I will do to make it easier to check this drawing is I'm going to hide my drawing layer, insert a new layer above this tiger. And this is something that I'm going to do a lot when I'm painting. I utilize, like when I'm painting in oil, I will utilize digital tremendously to make sure that my drawing is good. I tend to do that all the time. So create a new layer. Change this color to red so we have a nice red color that's completely different than anything on here. And I'm just going to pop in some, what do you call them? Landmarks. Yeah, we just want landmarks here. We're not going to do the drawing for us, but I'm quickly creating these kind of landmark lines. Usually I look for corners. Getting those corners on the major parts of the head. It's a great way to check your accuracy. Most of the time, even when you have a professional teacher, someone that has taken, decades of their life to learn anatomy, perspective, everything, and you ask them about your drawing, what's wrong with it? It looks kind of strange or whatever. They'll give you a subjective answer because it's, I guess they could do some direct comparison on your drawing, but you won't get to something that is objectively correct as checking through digital means, directly from the image like this. And so I'll just put a bunch of landmarks in there, maybe for this stripe here, there. Just an idea. And then I'll hide that layer and bring my drawing layer back. Now, mind you, I only do this after I've already established some drawing. It's a way for me to get feedback on how well I've done. And it's all about the feedback. Good morning, Thinker. How are you? Sorry, the stream is having some issues right now. Hopefully it'll correct itself. Usually I just kind of leave it there and it does its thing. I don't have anything else running, I don't think. Everything that I have running, I usually have running while I'm doing the stream any other time. But hopefully it's okay for you. Sorry if it's a bit choppy and all that. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is that I'm off on the left eye a lot. Some problems there. The right eye's a little bit off. The size of the face has got some problems, so we need to do a bunch of corrections here. There's a bunch of things that I have correct, even though, you know, I had to adjust the size of this entire image. Ooh, when I get to the body though, everything's kind of off down here. So I have a lot of issues there. So that's fine. But with digital, we can make a lot of corrections. Now, in these composition stages, does it really matter how off this is? Am I on the right layer? I am not. Does it really matter how off this is? Wow, my brain's kind of all over the place this morning. I guess it doesn't have to be super accurate in this stage, but I really want it to be. What I want to do is get, you know, this kind of understanding well before I get into painting. And a lot of these things I will just need to redraw, honestly. All right, let's get to it. No time like the present, right? So the edge of the nose needs to move over, which I just had a bunch of lines there. One of the lines was correct. That's a tendency that you can do when you're drawing, is making all these lines, and then there's a huge guess of which one is correct. Which is the correct line? We don't know. Just using a combination of my, well, the same brush, just hitting E to erase. And I'm not even looking at the tiger image right now. I'm just dealing with these marks that I made. And I've drawn enough of the tiger at this point, and that's another reason why it's important to start this process out with, you know, a drawing that you've done that you can compare against. You're getting feedback. You're looking at what you normally get wrong. And if you do the, you know, if you've chosen kind of this subject matter that you love, and I would always suggest that, you know, pick a subject matter that you can go deep on rather than casting your net wide and doing all kinds of stuff. Once you've chosen that subject matter, you're going to be doing it a lot of times, you know. And it'll be a subject matter that you love to do, so it's not going to be, you know, a big deal anyways. But you'll find out as you work that subject matter lots of times, your tendencies to either, you know, maybe make hands incorrect, or maybe you, like I do, I tend to grow the body as I go down. Like it gets larger and larger as I get closer to the feet. Start out with the head, and the head looks really small, you know, eventually. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't need to look at the tiger right now. Getting kind of like a symbolic idea of this tiger right here. And I always do the same thing with my oil paintings as well. What'll happen is I will draw out the oil painting from eye, or, you know, sometimes I use a grid. I'll probably, for this one, because it's the first time I've ever used, you know, painted a tiger, I'll probably use a grid on this one. I try to get away from the grids as well, as much as I can. I'll increase the size of the grid for a lot of things, so that it's kind of like a gradual change away from gridding. You know, it's like training wheels. You have the training wheels, and you kind of begin moving away from it. There's a tendency for artists to think that you're no good if you use a grid or, you know, any of these tools to help you do your drawing. And you know what? I mean, that's probably good, because you're looking, well, what happens is you're looking at these amazing artists, right? And you're like, well, they don't use it. But in a lot of ways, that's very incorrect, because you don't know how long they've been working. Maybe they started out with a grid years ago, and now they've built up their drawing skills so much that they don't need it. So what you do is you use it, and you slowly get away from it. And I'll talk more about that once we get into the drawing on canvas and everything. I can't wait to take this to canvas. After we do all this work on it to get the composition going, I know it's going to look really good. Well, I have a really good chance that it's going to look great. So at this part, it is like I'm basically tracing my landmarks that I put down. Put a bunch of landmarks down here. I don't have an issue with that right now, especially on stream, trying to get these things produced. So that's interesting. I'm way off here on this. Actually, you know, the lighting I would probably want to bring back in that way anyways. It's the lines of the tiger. Ooh, this one I got down just right. Pretty close on that one. That's another thing is when you're doing this kind of objective feedback, you can celebrate what you've gotten right. A lot of times we focus on, because, you know, that's kind of what we've been built to do, is focus on the negative, the problems, what we didn't do, what we need to avoid, right? These kind of things. A lot of times we focus on the negative, but if you get this objective feedback, you can also see how well you've done. So don't forget that. This kind of feedback is important. Okay. So let me go back to, that's 100%. So I was zoomed in super far. So back to 100%. Let me show this tiger again. Move in. Oh, not that one. We don't want to move our drawing. Okay. The cleanup went a lot faster there. Let's get 100% on this guy. I have this jungle image. Actually, before I get into the jungle image, I want to establish, what do I want to establish? A little bit more down here with the paws and everything of the tiger. I'm going to pause and work on paws. That was a really bad joke, sorry. It's interesting how thick the top of this leg is. I didn't realize it was that thick. What I'm doing here is getting an understanding of the generalized shape of, these paws and stuff. It's interesting the form that this paw on the right makes, the left paw for the tiger. It's kind of, bent on the rock there. These kind of things, when that looks a little strange, a little odd. I mean, in a photograph, you look at it and you go, well, yeah, it's the thing. That's what it is, obviously. But I tell you, when you make a painting, a lot of those things, they don't come out so well. They tend to look weird, create questions in the minds of your viewer. So you have to recognize these things that, oops, there's my later alarm. You have to recognize these things that would look good in an image, yet not read well within a painting. That might be one of them. We shall see. Yeah, not sure what's going on with the stream. Sorry, guys. I've done everything I can on my end. It may be just my internet is a little bit slower today. Okay. So let's box these paws out. There's a change in direction there that I want to understand. Yeah, I think that's a better understanding. Let's hide our tiger, and I'm going to find the image of the jungle. I believe I put it in the notes area. Here it is. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this layer and transform it horizontally. Because I like the palm fronds at the top, how they're kind of slanting down, and I can get that exact drawing a bit in there. I'm going to create a new layer, so this will be behind the tiger. I can draw over the tiger without affecting it at all. And I want this palm frond. I want it to go all the way. is very striking. And here I am drawing through so that I can get an accurate account of, you know, the shape as it passes beyond the plane of the canvas. Gonna make sure that I don't make this palm frond too mechanical. We want to keep it as organic as possible. There's always a tendency to make things even, you know, evenly spaced out. So always got to check that, especially when you're dealing with nature, definitely. And then I still like the other one that's poking out there just a little bit. Just getting the general shape of these. And then I'll come back in and clean it up afterwards. And then I'm actually going to transform this image again back to its original orientation. And I like these palm fronds down here on the right. Like especially this one, how it kind of layers out. It's got this shape to it. This reminds me of, actually, and I want this one on a new layer because it's going to be, I'm glad I did that because I was painting on the layer with the jungle. Okay, on the correct layer. Always have to make sure you're on the correct layer. It's not me that, just me that does that, it's everybody. But this reminds me of drawabox.com. Because at one point you go through construction and you begin constructing a plant. And the first thing you do is you get kind of like this center spine that runs through it. And then you get an idea of its general shape. So this frond comes out this way, angles down, goes off the side, that side of the canvas, and then comes back up here. And then what you can do from here, I made this a bit too long, is beginning just getting an idea of the form all over. And this is really important because, you know, we have to light these things. I'm not going to be using this light, the light that is in the photo. Okay. Now that we have that generalization down, let me create a new layer, fade this one out. Or change the opacity of it, and then let's draw the frond for real. For real, for real. Oops. Don't be afraid to draw a bunch of stuff or paint a bunch of things that give you a better understanding of your art, of your subject matter, that people will never see. Don't be afraid to do that. It's more important that the end result is what you want than for it to go a lot faster. I mean, there's so much art that, you know, we've never seen from the greatest artists on the planet, because the preparation work, the idea generation, all this kind of stuff. And it's all that makes up the, you know, final piece eventually. And I'm going to merge that with the bottom layer. So we have this frond here. Let's move my jungle scene out of the way. Now, the one that has gone through the tiger, we do need to clean it up. So I'm going to make some selections on it where the tiger covers it up, and delete. I'm going to put the rock, which I'm going to make up myself, on the same layer as the tiger. Now, the one thing I remember, and also at this point, I can really turn down the opacity of my thumbnail image. But at one point, we looked at a lot of these indicators up here of composition. And I remembered that I need to get some big, small, medium, and small items within this composition. And I was pretty certain that I could do that with a lot of the background. But the one thing that I'm missing with this tiger is some kind of indication of a tail. The tiger image that we have, you cannot see. Okay, you can go back up there now. Thank you. Actually, yeah, we'll just cover up the tigers. There's no indication of tail. You don't see the tiger's tail. I guess I could just make up a tail out of my head, but then there's this fear that it would be inaccurate in some way. I'm looking for tails. Look, none of these tigers have tails, except for the one that's kind of poking up in the air. Let's see. I wonder if there's any images that I've already downloaded of a tiger where its tail is doing something natural. Because our tiger is kind of at rest. Let me open this one and see what it looks like. There's a wet tail, a wet tiger. Tigers love water. I would say for the most part, when a tiger is in, you know, the tail's kind of curving down in this way. That kind of swish to the side is what I'm looking for. The hint of the tail kind of coming out. Not in this kind of action-oriented state. Something a bit more natural to the pose that we have. Just a tiny hint of the tail there. What is that? Tasmanian tiger. It's extinct. Wow. Yeah, I think this kind of motion here is probably what I'll get. Let's see. See if we can repeat that. Just no more images. That's a simple thing. It shouldn't be too hard. Okay, I'm on the right layer, on the right brush with the right color. And the palm frond is going to be covering up some of this. Most of this, actually. Yeah, that should be fine. So good. Fade it out just a bit. Okay. Now, what can we do to this to help it out? First thing is, this is just a drawing, and I know I need to get some small, medium, and large items in here. But I want to work on the value first. And we're going to do that underneath all of our drawing. I don't want a discernible pattern back here of this dark area. The hardest part about this is going to be able to see my drawing, really. There we go. Finally going to actually use my colors or my value swatches up here. And we're going to work this up in layers. I'm not going to worry too much about being super accurate with the drawing right now on this. The cleanup can always happen. I'm going to get this general idea down first. And I'm starting with our darkest gray that we have, not the black. It's not really black, really, but one of our darkest grays. And the light is going to be coming from above and lighting the tiger. Mainly, let's keep that in the background. So that's the palm fronds in the background. Most of the light is going to be hitting the top of the head. Let's do this. I'm going to group the drawing and bring its opacity down as well. Let me zoom in a bit so you guys can see this. So I know that we have this top shelf of the forehead, but then there's also a change in plane as it goes into the top of the bridge of the nose. So that's going to get a bit darker. So leaving that there. And then let me bring my tiger over now so I can actually see. And I'm almost certain that on humans, it's a zygomatic arch. It's kind of where, if you put your hand on your cheekbone, you feel that bone there. That's the zygomatic arch. I can see that similar shape on this tiger as well. That's for certain going to grab some of this light that happens above. The jowls here will grab some of that light, and even down the side of the nose will get the light. Top of the ears. Kind of a fun part because you're thinking about light, you're painting light, and actually I would say that all this is going to get light as well. Not as much. I'm going to fade that out. Like some of the tufts of the ear will get light. This awesome concave shape that's on either side of the muzzle and below the cheekbones of the tiger. I definitely want to capture that. And I think a bit of this chin is going to capture the light. I'm going to keep the eye sockets in shadow. Kind of increase the intensity there of the look. And then there's going to be a cast shadow. I'll just outline the cast shadow here of the tiger's head onto the body. Using the stripes of the tiger to understand, the form there. But there will be some cascade of light happening on the side here. We can use light to our advantage in a lot of ways, especially as artists. What you'll see a lot in landscape painting is there'll be this kind of phantom shadow somewhere on the landscape a lot of times. And You know, maybe it's a cloud that the artist has put up there. You know, where is the cloud exactly? No one cares, but it casts this perfect shadow that creates a wonderful compositional element. You can see that done on a lot of landscape paintings. It's, you know, it's just a made-up shadow. It's accurate. It could happen, you know, but we don't have to, as artists, we don't have to be completely accurate to nature. We change it up to facilitating an emotion. That's our first job, facilitating emotion. Every time I paint, whether it's digital or traditional, whatever I'm putting down, I'm putting it down in a way that describes the form best, or to the best of my ability. I could easily just make all these strokes the same direction, but that I'm losing that opportunity, that extra you know, the extra tool at my advantage to describe the form. I know the top of these paws will get some light. This is a really dark gray. This is the darkest gray that I have on the swatches for our design process Krita document, which is going to be part of the resources on Gumroad. So if you'd like to download those, see the link in the description. It's only $10. Get half off with CB50 off. If you're listening to this stream, if you're in this stream, you get 50% off. $5 for this thing that's growing like all the time. Hopefully, when I get more people into this, they will see the value in it. I'm gonna go ahead and fill in a lot of this darker gray in places, except in the shadow. I created that line there. Now I don't like it. Need to fade it out. So that could get some light, but then not inside there. There's a shadow there. Here there's all shadow. Maybe the side of the leg would get some, maybe the side of this leg would get some light. Definitely the top of the paws. And then there's this kind of divot here. That's not going to get any light when it's coming from above. Put some light on that tail back there. Okay. So let's remove our tiger drawing. That's where we're at. There's going to be some back and forth here where the drawing provides structure right now. The light doesn't have the structure yet. But there will be some back and forth at the beginning, but we have to get to the light. Get the light to describe the structure as well. So let's move to our next lightest. And let's work it up again. Staying with the tiger, I want to keep everything in the background pretty dark, and I could darken up the background even further because I have the opacity there. And I can even take the drawing down a bit more now. So now that we're on a lighter value, what we can do is just work up the things that will get more light than the value that we just created. I mean, the top of this head is always going to get every value that we change to. These ears, the same. Need to fade out that drawing even more. Then fading off as we get down into the side of the head. Always describing that form. I say this so much. I've been working on some painting tutorials that now I just need to do a bunch of editing on. And I say that all the time. Always describing the form. I'm not going, you know, like sideways on the nose, okay? I'm describing the curve of the bridge of the nose as I add light to it. I do think that this, as the bridge of the nose kind of slopes down into the face, I do think it would get more light. Oh, it's already 4 o'clock. Okay, how long have we been on this stream? Or how long have I been on the stream? 53 minutes. Let's go another 7 more minutes on this. One of the questions that I see asked a lot from other artists on YouTube and different places around the web, you know, social media, is how long does it take? I hope that this live stream is providing a good answer to that, you know. How long did that tiger painting take you? Well, look at add up all the hours on the live stream. Starting here and going there. That's exactly how long it took. Hopefully that doesn't demotivate individuals to not even try. Oh, it takes that long. Well, yeah, and then you add in, you know, all the years of school, and which I don't think you need anymore, but at least the years of study. You have to have the years of study. Hopefully it's not too demotivating. Like, wow, that's so boring. Why would I want to do that? Yeah, it does take some patience, I will say. Patience. But actually, no, not really. I'm gonna take that back. It doesn't take patience if you really enjoy what you're doing. Because I get to this point where, you know, even on the stream, especially when I'm just painting myself or drawing myself, you get to this point sometimes, it's not all the time, where, you know, you look up and like hours have gone by. A time dilation happens. You know, you're so deep into the flow state that you didn't even realize that you've been painting for hours or drawing for hours. All right, let's go on to the next lightest. Where are we at? Yeah, we're right at that one. Getting pretty light with this one. Now, I'm not even paying attention to the local color of the tiger as well, which, you know, honestly, I should be. Because that local color is going to be affecting, you know, the value in a lot of ways. So, for example, this area is going to get a lot of light. Boy, there's so much complexity with the tiger. It's just like, how do you know, it's when you get into these things that you start painting, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, there's just so much complexity within this that I didn't think about before. And I'm just working this up in value. I mean, there's no color to this whatsoever. What I can do is now I'm going to be using my color swatches or my value swatches here. So I'll select this darker color. And even though the local color underneath that eye is white, I don't want to make it white because it has some shadow to it. And then I can start pulling from my image as well for light. I do think I'm getting way too detailed with this. It's taking forever. But we're into it now, aren't we? I think if I wasn't doing this stream, I think I'd be a lot less worried about time. When you're doing something live and you're trying to, at least I'm trying to hopefully influence individuals or help people out. You know, I'm thinking about what they're thinking, right? It makes the whole idea of imposter syndrome and, you know, being yourself and doing what you love and all that I talk about much harder. When you're on stage, per se. Let's try this. Let's go into this dark and see how we can use this to describe some of those stripes. Yeah. Wow. Brain no worky when focus on drawy. Reminds me of this awesome game that me and my wife got. It's this from the same guy that created the game Exploding Kittens, which, I mean, we love cats, and the whole idea of that's kind of stupid, but this game that we got is called Poetry for Neanderthals. And the premise of the game is that you can only use one syllable words. So you pick a card and it has something on it like ghost. And they'll have one word at the top for 1 point, and then like a phrase at the bottom of 2 words. So the word at the top will be ghost and maybe ghost town. But so you have to get your team to say ghost or ghost town and only use 1 syllable words. So you have to say things like dead men go boo, right? Which is really funny, especially when someone's trying to describe stuff to you and that, they can only use 1 syllable. But what's even more fun about it is the person that's being a poet, that's trying to be a Neanderthal poet and describe this, has another person right next to them with this inflatable bat. It's called a no stick. And if they say one of the words, if they say like a 2-syllable word or one of the words on the card, they get to hit them with the stick. And of course, it's really inflatable. It's not really going to hurt anybody, but it's a lot of fun just saying no and hit someone in the head with a stick, with an inflatable stick. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with it. All right. Let's do this. Let's increase the background darkness and see where we're at. Back up just a little bit. Actually, let's back up really far. All that detail I'm working on just went away, didn't it? It's like, what detail? I forgot the purpose of these composition sketches. I mean, that's looking really good. I'm really, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with that. But the purpose of these composition sketches is not to get into that detail. But at the same time, I will say this. If you're painting a zebra and you're working on a generalized painting of a zebra, you still have to indicate those stripes in some way, right? I mean, it's going to be very difficult for you to blur the stripes out. It won't look like a zebra. It'll look like a kind of a gray thing. So in that light, I'm going to say that this is okay, getting a bit detailed, especially with those stripes coming in, because I think it's really helping describe what's going on. Palm fronds are too light in some aspect. I think they're taking over the image too much. But we'll see. And I put a lot of that I just drew on the wrong layer. Gotta back it all up. Yep, that's the problem with painting in the wrong layer. So I gotta do that over again. Let's do that one.